and welcome back to the Cryptic podcast. Today we're bringing you another episode, and this time we've got two new guests. One which is at the shops, he'll be back in a bit, and well, hopefully, unless he does something like my dad does and doesn't come back. And then we've got the other guy, Harvey. You right, mate? This isn't the Harvey from the first episode. This is one who's actually got a working mic and is an actual decent guy. You right, mate?
Yeah, alright.
So in this podcast, we're going to give you everything from we're going to give you everything from news that's just come out about football, FIFA, that sort of thing. And also, we're going to give you a bit of news about the current FGL season that's starting up very, very soon. So,
are you streaming tonight's games?
Yeah, I will be. The program will start at about probably about 7:15, and will run until about midnight. Well, not midnight, but you know what I mean. It'll run and it will run until about 9:30, quarter to 10. So yeah, in the program we'll have everything from live coverage of FGL Palace's opening games, and we will also have background information, such as talks between the managers and players and all that jazz for you to listen to.
Anyway, what team do you support?
I'm a Chelsea fan.
Fair. But, no, I support Swans.
Fair enough, fair enough.
Jacks.
You're from Wales?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, we lost the day before yesterday. Not the best starting game, to be fair.
Well, there's plenty of time in the season. I'm talking about opening games and starting off the new season. FGL Palace starts off their season tonight, and let's have a look who they're playing. So, currently, the team has a squad count of 13 players, a budget of 45 million, and 3 releases left out of the 5 you get at the start of the season. Now, the fixtures are looking very good. Tonight's fixtures bring you that of Tottenham Hotspur taking on Arsenal at 9:10. No, 8:10, sorry. You have Stoke City taking on Chelsea. Newcastle are home to Man City, and Leicester will meet the Toffees. And Palace are away to. And Palace are travelling up to Manchester to face the Manchester United at Old Trafford. Then 10:09 and 20:09, we have Arsenal facing Crystal Palace at home. Everton taking on Manchester United. Man City taking on Leicester. The Geordies head down to Stamford Bridge to take on the Mighty Blues. and Stoke head up to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium to face Tottenham. And that is all for the Premier League. Now over in the FA Cup, we have coverage of that from 10 past 9, 10 past 20 past 9, with Burnley taking on Liverpool, Norwich taking on West Ham, Brighton against City, Newcastle vs Swansea, Leicester vs Bournemouth, Bristol City vs Derby County, Chelsea vs Manchester United, Wolves take on Coventry at home, Leeds, wait, have I gone? No, I haven't. Leeds take on Southampton, Middlesbrough go to Tottenham, and Crystal Palace, and the last two fixtures of the evening, MK Dons host Brentford, where Crystal Palace hosts Stoke City.
Few good games there.
Definitely.
Arsenal Tottenham.
Oh, yeah, that is a very, very good game. And I feel like I'm on Sky Sports here. Now let's just have a look at the roster for Crystal Palace this evening. It looks like they have a squad count of 13, as mentioned before. And on that runs Sharpie, 1107, Dogturian 38, also known as Badger 43, Vixter 99, KTGS, also known as Cryptic Psycho, John Shields, Jamie RUFC plays YT, also known as Jamie, I just nuts, and JJ Ronaldinho, Crucified Casto and Synergy, and then the last three consist of Refresh, Hassan Jr. and Harvey F26, which is Harvey who's on the podcast with me right now. Let's see if I can see how Palace have lined up. So Palace have only submitted one team sheet for tonight, and that is their very first one against Arsenal. A derby game to kick off. No, against Manchester United. A nice little game to kick off the season before what you could call the derby with Crystal Palace and Arsenal. I can actually not see the team sheet, unfortunately. Yeah, and then we've got Stoke later on in the evening.
Is Stoke in the FA Cup?
Yes. Yep, it certainly is, my friend. So, Harvey, should we take a bit of a run-in through the rules of FGL, or should we have a look at some? Certainly shall. Wait, we should just call this podcast the FGL News.
Yeah, might as well.
Innit? So, for the website, you've got your normal rules as racism will not be tolerated. I cannot speak. No harassing, bullying, and we don't really need to know about them. In other words, don't be a head, and have a bit of common sense about you. Match rules, right? All teams must be named using the following format: FGL, then the team name. Common sense. All teams must play in the corresponding kits for the team that they are. For example, FGL Arsenal must use Arsenal kits and crest. Teams are only allowed to field a player that is on the team's roster. Team sheets and stats, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. All players must be active on the site in order to play. And that's about it in terms of that.
Yeah. It's a team that we're in right now, the team which we're going to be using later. Like
no, we've actually got an FGL Polish team that we need to join.
Okay.
Ooh, ban enforcement. Offense and duration. Racism, lifetime ban. I know. Derogatory remarks regarding children or people's families, lifetime ban. Okay. Cyberbullying, 2 weeks. Impersonation of staff to be decided by owners. Inappropriate language, 1 week. That's okay. Posting any inappropriate content, 1 week. Failing to manage, 2 months ban. Refusing to play, minimum 1 month.
Alright, wait, I'm gonna...
Multiple accounts, 2 weeks. Multiple accounts during ban, plus 2 months onto the ban. Rage quitting league or cup games, 2 weeks. Swearing on the FGL website, 24 hours. Shoutbox spamming, don't know what that is, that's probably something off the BSM. Yeah, and hang on a minute. Calling awards, tots, etc. fixed or raked is a 2-week ban.
Wait, so no, wait, so our first game today is at 8:10 away at Man U.
Yeah. The word retard, spaz, etc. and any context on the FGL website is an instant 24-hour ban. So all you in the comment section, right, you're not allowed to call me a retard or a spaz. On the FGL website. You can call it me in the comments, to be fair, but you shouldn't. So, that's a quick boring rundown of the rules. If you want to see them, it's over on the FGL Gaming website. And can I just take a minute out of the video to talk about our sponsors, Faithful Grips. Go check them out on Instagram. This is not a paid sponsorship. This is just a sponsorship. I'm not getting paid. I get free products every time people use the code Cryptic to get a 25% discount on all products. So go head that out, and if I get a free product, I'll give it away to you guys. All you have to do to enter the giveaway is like and subscribe. Go follow Faithful Grips and EP Cryptic on Instagram, and sit back and I'll randomly pick a winner when I get the product. So that's back to the podcast. So it's a bit heated in the Palace dressing room right now, mainly because it's the manager's very first competitive FGL game.
I can't wait to make my debut, to be fair.
I can't wait to make my managerial debut as well.
Very, very big day.
Very, very big day indeed. So, how do you think that? Should we have a look at how the table starts off at the start of the season?
Alright then.
obviously, as you know, it will be in alphabetical order. Let's see where Crystal Palace are for the start of the season. So, there's 10 teams in the league. The bottom 2 getting relegated. The top 4 qualifying for something, I don't know what. And because they've taken out the Europe. And obviously the first one in the championship. Well, the Prem. So, Tottenham Hotspur, 10th. Stoke City, 9th. Newcastle, 8th. 7th place. We've got Manchester United, then Manchester City, then Leicester City. And then the top half of the table. Well, so Leicester, Man City mark the end of the bottom half of the table. Top half of the table. In 5th place, Leicester City. 4th place for the first time ever, because they're normally absolutely shocking and go like 10th place, Everton. Top of the table is Arsenal, then Chelsea, and then in 3rd place, Crystal Palace. We'll be hoping to maintain our tonight as we take on Manchester United, Arsenal, and that's it. For the league, anyway. This is, instead of Sky Sports, FGL Sports. Because that's what it is, isn't it? Literally.
Yeah.
So, should we get into a quick interview with the newly signed striker, and who will also be making his debut for the club? So, Harvey, thanks for agreeing to do an interview, even though you never agreed. I just made you do one. So, how do you feel about signing for? How do you feel about signing for Crystal Palace?
I've obviously had past experience in the professional leagues, but not as big as this. Signing for a proper club, so I'm really excited to make a debut and hope I can make an instant impact.
Glad to hear it. So you were saying you've had experiences in the top leagues. So what leagues were they? How did you do in them? Did you shine on your debut, or?
Yeah, in PGS league, I played in PGS Belgium for a bit for Eltham FC, manager player type thing, and I think in my first game I got 2 goals, which I was very happy with, but then the club folded, so I was looking for a new little league to try and join, and this came up, and I thought, let's give it a go.
So, had you ever heard about the FGL before tonight?
Yeah, but I haven't really played in it or seen it a lot. It's just one of them things that I haven't really got into. But as soon as I seen an invitation from one of the teams in it, then I had to say yes.
So, when you were saying not as big as making your debut for a proper club, what does this mean to you and your family at home?
Not a lot to my family, but to me, I can't wait. It's one of them things which doesn't happen a lot. You don't see a lot of people play for a Premier League club and pro clubs, and that's what come up, and that's what's gonna happen.
So, are you surprised with your age being quite young to get a contract at a big club at your age? Because obviously, as far as I'm aware, you didn't play for the academy of Crystal Palace in the FGL.
No, I didn't, but I have seen I have seen a lot of teams on club recruitment servers which do say like older ages, But I did get lucky and find a club which didn't really mind age.
Mm.
So yeah.
And reports say that you were a free agent at the time of coming to Palace, but reports say that without even making your debut, big clubs in the Championship and League One are looking to sign you on a loan deal. How do you respond to that, and are you looking to move from Palace at this moment in time?
I would not mind going on loan, to be fair, just to help with development. But honestly, I don't really mind if I was to stay or not.
But would you be would you prefer to stay at Crystal Palace?
I would probably prefer to stay, but I would be open to signing for other clubs if I had to.
But not a permanent deal, just a loan.
Yeah, just a loan, because being at a Premier League club it is a big thing.
Yeah. Well, don't worry. Um, I don't think the manager is planning on selling you anytime soon, as you haven't even made your
That's
debut
good.
yet. Um, but what? But reports say you haven't even been to a training session with the club. So how did it come around that you got offered a contract? If you haven't trialed, been at the club, trained with the team, how did it come around? Do you know the manager personally, or what sort of happened? Take us through your story.
Not really. I spoke to one of the players about it, and they did ask me about the pro clubs. I spoke to Refresh, and it came in. I asked a few questions, and I got fairly happy about it, and I said, I will join. And then he sent me an invitation to one of the servers. Came in, and then I thought, this is going to be a big moment.
Mm. So it was kind of luck based that you managed to get into the team.
Yeah, I did put my club recruitment thing in. I'm not sure what server. I think it might be VCPL or CLP PC, something like that. And I did put it in there, and my stats do look fairly good, so I think that's mostly why.
Well,
I got put.
the manager, the reports of the manager just somehow finding you through one of his players, and then just offering you a contract out of the blue. So, how did you feel when that contract was sent? Did you get a buzz of
Um,
excitement, or did you think, or were you a
Overwhelmed.
bit skeptical?
Um, I was overwhelmed because I joined the team and then, straight away, not even playing a game, I got a contract offer. So I'd say I did need a bit more backup for the striker spot. And, after that, I thought this is going to help me a lot with the development and just more visual side.
So, do you expect to be starting every game in the FGL, or what do you think about that then?
Yeah, well, it's obviously going to be exciting, but who knows
So,
what's going to happen.
do you think you deserve to start every game, or do you think just starting some of the games this season will be a massive improvement for you, considering you haven't, you've never been a part of an FGL club, never mind a Premier League
I
team?
probably shouldn't start every game. Just a few games will help with development and get me better, and hopefully I can stay on until next FIFA and see what happens then.
Mm. So, uh, so the rumours are going around that you were a highly versatile player. So, explain to us, what positions can you play, and what positions has the manager said that you will be playing for him?
I will mostly play striker, I expect, and then if I have to, then I will play builder.
I think You are breaking up a bit. But I think that's all for the interview. And now let's get back to the other parts of the podcast. So, if you didn't know, I am actually the Palace manager, and we had not talked about those questions. I just made them up on the spot. So how did you think of your interview, pal?
Yeah, it was good. You know, got it off the spot. You know, very impressive to be fair.
Mm. Yeah. So, well, are you looking forward to the start of the season then?
Yeah, and hopefully set until the second season. But you know, I cannot wait until a few hours until the season starts and getting into the games with my new team and hopefully get some team relationship making and see how the lads can improve.
Mm. Well, it is. The season officially starts um, in just under 4 hours. So, mm, season officially
Yeah.
starts. Um, well, you'd say it starts probably about half an hour before the. Well, it starts when the signing thing closes at 7 o'clock. So that is when the season officially closes and first game day has started. So just literally 3 hours until just literally just under 3 hours until the season officially gets underway. All games will be live coverage by FGL News or EP Cryptic, as we like to call ourselves, and it will run from all the Palace games and a bit of the build-up as well. So, Harvey, how do you feel about
Yeah.
playing next to some of the proven players such as Sharpie and Badger, as they have
But
been proven in the PGS and other big leagues?
well, it just shows that that's gonna make me improve so much. You know, playing with highly experienced players. Hopefully, I can get straight into it and they can they can pull out some of their magic and
Does it
help my
not
development.
bother you that your possible strike partner is more than triple your age? Wouldn't that cause a bit of chemistry issues?
Um, I don't think so personally. You know, it doesn't really matter. You know, age is just a number, as they say, and playing up front together builds up a relationship, and hopefully that strike partnership can work out for the rest of the season.
Yeah, the managers probably sure hope so as well. I do. So, what other things do you do apart from play FIFA and get offered out of the contracts out of the blue for Crystal Palace? Do you
Do you
have
know what?
any? Do you have any other
Games wise, I do
hobbies?
some YouTube. I did used to do some YouTube videos, but they were all on Ultimate Team,
Talking
and I
about
stopped
Ultimate
playing
Team,
Ultimate Team. So
um, an RTG next year for FIFA 22. It could be a joint one if Harv wants to do it
I
as
think
well.
I think I will be doing an RTG as well next year on my YouTube. I did
Uh,
start to do one this year, but
well, we can both do it together, and maybe even form our own esports team, which I have done. If you don't know what it's called, it is called Darth, which I will be
okay.
changing my YouTube for it. So yeah, um, Darth Harvey sounds quite good actually, doesn't it? Darth Harvey.
Rhymes.
What?
Stuff I love to see. Yeah, I cannot wait to be wearing that Crystal Palace shirt, to be fair, you know.
Mm.
And
So,
and
just
yeah.
on the Ultimate Team topic, do you think that you might register for the FIFA Global Series this year and represent an esports team? As I
I'm
will be
not
doing.
sure.
Um,
I'm
you
honestly not sure.
There are certain esports teams looking for players. As a matter of fact, one of them, including my own Darth, for that's looking for an esports team. Players to represent them. Currently only hosting Darth Cryptic myself. So there are a few esports teams out there looking to sign new recruits for the FGS next year. How will you approach signing, if you will sign for any? How will you approach it? Will you?
I'll ask them what they're about, you know, and see what players they have, see if I've heard of anyone, and if so, then maybe I might join them. But there's a very slim chance of me even playing Ultimate Team again this year.
What about? So you're looking at playing Ultimate Team next year then, or?
Yeah, most definitely. You know, Ultimate Team. Well, the start of FIFA is always so hyped for Ultimate Team. You know, you just kind of have to play it, and I cannot wait.
Well, I'm pretty sure this podcast has already been running for literally. Do you know how to check how long this has been running for?
2 minutes.
So, quite long then. Yeah, so. Next up, we're going to be talking about everyone's favourite subject, the opening of the Premier League season. So, we spoke a lot about the opening of the FGL. Now let's move on to real life football with the Prem. So, So, are you excited for the start of the Premier League season, or?
You know, I do obviously support a championship team, so I obviously enjoy watching the Prem, but I don't get as excited for it anymore. You know, since Swans did get relegated, but you know, I still can't wait to see how some of the worst teams do. You know, like Brentford, who did beat us in the playoff final, and just some of them teams, see how they can do this season, if they go straight back down or not.
Yeah. So, the start of the championship season gave us more than enough excitement with obviously Preston getting beat by Hull.
Yeah,
And
that was big.
that was big. And Swansea getting beat by whoever they got beat by. I don't know because
It was Blackburn. It was fairly close, to be fair. So at the end of the game, Swansea were dominating, but they got that extra bit of flair, and you know. But there was a plus from that game. The debutant Jamie Patterson, who we signed from Bristol City, literally a day before he played, got a goal, and it was a very good goal. So yeah.
It's a bit like you then, signing before he's even had a training session with the club.
Yeah, I know. He played literally a day after he signed. He started and got a goal, so hopefully I can do the same.
Well, you've heard it here first. The new FGL Patterson.
Yeah, well, Swans, like last season, we were one of the better teams in the championship, definitely. Getting to the playoff finals very big, but Steve Cooper the Swans manager, he's left, and he was a very big part of that upgrowing. He came here for his first time in club management, and now got us to the playoff final. He got us to the playoffs twice, but then he quit, and we've signed the MK Dons manager, which is a bit weird, but hopefully he can get us back up to the Premier League.
That's like what's happened over at Everton. Carlo Ancelotti's left after saying about a big plan at Everton, and now Everton have gone and brought in Rafa Benitez, which
yeah, that
is
was
a
a
bit
bit
weird.
weird to be fair, because they obviously Rafa Benitez managed Liverpool like 10 years before. I'm not sure, but big change.
So, what are we supposed to expect from Everton this season then? Obviously losing to big favourites for the Premier League this season, Manchester United on Saturday, 4-0 or 4-1, one of the two.
Yeah, I think Everton can definitely get maybe even Champions League football this year if they go into the Premier League season well. If they get the first win, if they get the first game of the season a win, then I think Calvert-Lewin will just start banging the goals in. And
What, like he did last season before? Who was it who got sent off? Digne or Richarlison? And then it just went down from there, to be honest.
Yeah, and Moise Keane as well. He's back at Everton this year, having not gone back to PSG, and he might be able to do or make a difference.
Maybe that would be exciting to see.
Yeah, that would be big for him as well, having not the greatest time at Everton when he did play there, and coming back to this season and seeing him play, that would be a lot.
Now, I just want to take a break from real football for a second and go back to the subject of Crystal Palace. As one second, check your Discord, Harvey.
Oh God.
So, we've actually got the Palace manager here for an interview, and if you would like to take it away.
Well, as new Palace manager, how do you feel coming into the job? Straight to a Premier League club, first time managing a team. How do you?
Well,
as a debutant.
Well, obviously, it was hard for me at first. Obviously, only getting the job 3 days before the season put me a step back to all the other managers. But I feel I've done well, and I'm excited to see how we perform in the first game of the season tonight.
Yeah, well, having signed only 3 days before, does that mean maybe... does that mean... Well, how did you get your players in so quick? How did you get so many in at once?
Well, it's kind of a long story. But I managed to bring somebody in who had quite a few connections as my assistant manager, and just managed to grow the team from there. And I'm sure there's probably managers who could get more in the short space of time, but I've done my best, and that's all that I really can do in the short space of time I was given.
Well, why Crystal Palace? Why did the job appeal to you?
Well, coming off the back of last season, Crystal Palace finished third, and the manager did unfortunately leave. So I had no other choice but to take over Crystal Palace and manage them and see if we can get them back up to the once founded glory of their place last season.
Yeah. So how did you feel when the chairman offered you a job straight off coming off your first ever management?
I was kind of stunned, to be honest, considering it is such a big club, and I haven't I've managed, but not at this level before. I've only managed in lower leagues like the Conference Norths of FPL um, and I have had a very good player career, playing for some of the big teams, but managerial wise, I have never actually managed a big club, so I'm looking forward to seeing what Palace can do.
Can you name such clubs that you've managed before?
Yeah, so I've managed FPL Spurs and FPL Arsenal in the conference leagues of Pro Clubs Management, and I've managed a few teams in VPG, which is a different system. But apart from that, apart from floating around a couple of conference leagues for a few FIFAs, it was really that. I've never managed something at this big level before.
Yeah. So what are you trying to? Well, where are you hoping to finish this season?
My aim is to get top 5, but as a new manager in my first season, I will be happy to get not relegated.
Yeah. So have you ever won a league in any of your past clubs?
I have not. As a matter of fact, I have never actually completed a season in the time of playing or management due to other reasons.
Yeah. Well, there's been a lot of speculation around this appointment, and what are your thoughts on everyone doubting you? As you know, you've just come from the Conference League. That's a big step up to the Premier League.
To all the doubters, I say just stay tuned for the Premier League season, and I will try my best. I feel I have a good bunch of lads, and I feel we can do something big.
Well, having Manchester United as your first game, that's massive. This is going to be a very big game as a start. How are you hoping to finish this one?
I'm hoping to get the win, obviously, but as it is a big game and our opener, as a team, I will be happy if we get a draw, but a loss is not on the cards for me tonight.
So, how are you hoping to do in the FA Cup this year?
Well, I'm hoping to get out of the group stage and maybe even advance into the later rounds.
Yeah, well, why did you sign Harvey as a player who's just come from being a free agent from a different whole league and never had experience in this type of league? What was the reasoning?
Um, I've heard about him through our left back, Refresh, and at the time we were on the market for a striker, and I thought, let's give this guy a shot. Obviously, being quite young, we did do quite a bit of research into his past teams to make sure he was mature enough. But after that, it was a case of whether he wanted to play for Palace, and he said yeah. So I'm actually happy. Also, just aside from the interview, check your Discord. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so
it was
reports have said there's been a disaster at Crystal Palace on Friday this weekend. Tell us about that and how you recovered the team.
Well, reports are not wrong. There was a big disaster. So as you may have seen, I came into the club on Friday morning, and I had a small team of players, one of which just left my roster. Two of which one. One second.
Okay, we've got a slight delay in the podcast.
Sorry about that. Right,
Okay,
so what was that? Oh yeah, so yeah, so two of which went to Southampton for a 20 million pound deal.
Okay.
And two of which, and then one of which went to Wolves. So I didn't have any players, and then it took until about 11, half 10, 11 o'clock at night until the club started lifting up, and it was really it was really on Saturday where it took off big and where the players started flooding in really. Yeah, it was a big disaster, and one that I struggled to cope with. Obviously, I don't know if you've heard this from the reports, but I was considering handing in my resignation to the chairman. But I did manage to keep my cool and not leave the club, and I did end up playing for, and I did end up keeping the job and recovering the team.
Yeah, so how do you feel? Who do you feel is going to be your star player this season?
Oh well, that's kind of hard for me to choose, to be honest. We have a lot of very good players, but I feel the top three, the 5 to watches are obvious. I'm gonna say obviously Refresh at left back, Harvey and Badger up front, probably Sharpie and I'm probably gonna say Sharpie and Jamie, right mid and centre back. The people I feel will be our stars who aren't on the 1 to watch list are Nuts, centre back, Cryptic, right back, and Edison Season in goal. I think all our team are going to do well, but from training and sessions, I think they're the ones at the minute.
Okay, so do you think it's time to end the interview now?
I think we've got time for 2 more questions.
Okay, so there's been reports as well that you are trying to bring in some more players as reserves. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so you can never have a low enough squad. Squad depth is very important, obviously, and I'm looking to strengthen that. get some very good players. Get some very good players to be our backups.
Yeah, there's been reports as well you are trying to sign Jay. He was in your party earlier, reports have been saying. So, is there any news on that signing?
That signing is yet to go through. However, I am looking at trying to confirm a deal with his agent. He will end up being a rotation player and a backup if we can hold our hands on him. But at the minute, no news has come around, and at the moment it's still hi, we're just in an interview, mate. So at the moment it's still undergoing. And I think that's all for the interview of the manager. So now we'll go on to our third and final interview of the day. Refresh, our left back. How are you, mate? So I'm just gonna ask you a few short questions on signing for Crystal Palace and about how you're looking forward to the new season. So, obviously signing for such a big club, how do you feel you will cope in the Premier League? Do you think you'll be able to cope with the physicality of the Premier League without getting sent off? Reports have been saying that in one of the practice games you did get sent off. Is this true or just a rumour? So can you tell us a bit more? Had you been booked in or had a card in a practice game? So you do understand that if you accumulate them in the FGL, you will have a one-match ban. And has your manager spoken to you about controlling your temper on the pitch, and how do you look to do that in upcoming seasons? Reports say that you are the youngest player on the team. Is that true, or? So, are you one of the youngest then, or? So, the manager only being quite young himself. How do you think he has commanded respect? Do you think the level of respect that he has commanded is well, or do you think, or is there a lot of disrespectful going on between the older players with the manager? Yeah, so how do you look to perform on your Premier League debut? So that's all for today for the interviews. And now we will do our last part of the podcast before ending, and that is talking about future things that will be happening. So, yeah, if you boys want to take it away, and future things that will be happening on the podcast and other stuff.
Yeah, there'll be a lot more talk upon the league, with the league just starting. We've already talked about it a lot, but we can obviously talk about it more when it starts, just so then, see what's happening in the league, if there's any new changes and stuff like that.
Yeah, Refresh, have you got anything to add? Well, that's been us, the Cryptic Boys podcast. And we will bring you another episode tomorrow around the same time, talking about the first day of the Premier League season, and be having a look at the league table and everything else that has changed. We will also be having a look at the lower leagues as well to see what's happened. So, thanks for watching and listening to this podcast. Hope you've enjoyed, and stay tuned for